Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. Much appreciated you tuning in for this video. And today we're going to do a side-to-side comparison between the Zoom trick worm and the Robo worm. Arguably the two most popular straight-tailed plastic worms on the market and have been for many years. I'm going to sort of give you my opinion on it, sort of give you my experiences with it, give you some advice on when one of them works better than the other, and sort of let you know a little bit about that. If you guys are interested in ordering any of these, I'll include the Baitworks link here. You guys can go online and get them through there. It's a good way to help the channel out, so much appreciated with that. And one other thing, I just wanted to remind you guys, man, we got a great selection of these lake map breakdowns on fishthemoment.com. Check them out if you want your favorite lake broken down. We got a lot of summer maps, fall maps, just a lot of info there, so much appreciated there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Robo worms versus the Zoom trick worm. You guys know I'm sponsored by Zoom, have been for many years, so you know, I'm a little bit biased towards the trick worm, but I'm going to give you guys an honest assessment of when I use both, because I do use both. A lot of pros do. Thing about bass fishing, you know, is every pro out there, even if they're sponsored or not, there's certain situations where one bait just works better than another. And you know, I've never worked with a sponsor that had any problem with that. I think that most sponsors appreciate when their pros are honest, you know, when they do that, because, you know, people aren't stupid. They know that people just can't use one product all the time. Even though I do use them most, you know, for the vast majority of my soft plastic fishing. But let's talk a little bit about first the two here. Here's the Zoom trick worm. And here's the Robo worm. This is the 6-inch Robo worm. This is the 6.5, 7-inch trick worm. You could also apply this to the 4-inch Robo worm or the 4-inch finesse worm on Zoom too. But for this sake, I've got the larger models of both one of these. This is actually the Robo worm fat worm. This is the one I prefer on the Robo worm. They make a straight Robo, like a round, smaller diameter Robo worm, and they make the fat model. I prefer the fat model. Actually, Aaron Martin's clued me in on that years ago. And the Zoom trick worm is similar. They both have a flat bottom to them, as you can see there. A flat base there. Yeah, turn that around. Flat base like that. So they're flat on the bottom, rounded on the side. Now, the applications here, guys, that I found with this, a lot of it has to do with water clarity. I found for the most part that the Zoom finesse worm, or the Zoom trick worm, is a lot more versatile bait. It works in a lot more water clarity and environment conditions than the Robo worm does. The Zoom trick worm, it's a great, you can put a black or June bug on and you can flip it in dirty water. You can put it on a shaky head. You can put a lighter color like this watermelon on a shaky head and catch a ton of fish on it. You can throw it on a Carolina rig. You can wacky style it. It's a super versatile bait. I'm guessing, guys, if you told me that you could have one soft plastic bait to fish with from now on, it would definitely be a Zoom trick worm. I've caught so many bass on this, quality bass and numbers both. So the Zoom trick worm has a lot more versatility. Now, the thing that I found out about the Robo worm over the trick worm is if you're in a high pressured situation, clear water, high pressured situation, specifically in the pre-spawn, that's when the Robo worms tend to work a little bit better. I like the Robo worms when the water temperature is sort of on that marginal side of using soft plastic. So for example, a lot of people are using jigs, finesse jigs, that type of stuff when the water temperature is still in the upper 40s and low 50s. I found that they will bite a Robo worm in cold water better than a trick worm. So this is one of my key baits during the pre-spawn, again in clear water. A lot of people, you know, fish a Robo worm on a drop shot. It's associated with a drop shot a lot. But guys, my favorite way to fish the 6-inch fat Robo worm is on a Texas rig. 3/16-ounce sinker, like a 3/0 straight shank hook, and just casting it around whatever I'm fishing. It could be rocky points, it could be docks, it could be grass lines, just down the bank, whatever. I mean, it's a really good bait to Texas rig on that. And you know, the trick worm is too. I mean, the trick worm's a great bait to Texas rig, but the difference is when I'm in a flipping situation, I don't care. And I've caught them coast to coast. I've caught them flipping grass in Florida with a trick worm. I've caught them flipping docks You know, in Kentucky with the trickworm. I've caught them out in Lake Mead, wacky rigging the thing. I've caught them everywhere on this thing. But when you're on a flip bite, like a dirty water flip bite, it'll definitely work better than the Robo worm. Robo worm's a little bit different. They're a little bit more of a complex as far as the color goes. You can see there, they've got a lot of two-tone colors. They've got the way they inject the bait, they give you more color options than the trickworm. You know, a lot of the trickworm stuff, except for the, you know, some of the hand-poured trickworms, the Z3s, you know, they're more just one color with flake in them a little bit. Why the Robo worms, you know, a little bit different on that. Also, the Robo worms, they got heavy salt in them. They probably got a little bit more salt than the trickworm does on them. Both of them do have salt, but the Robo worm has more. Overall, I'm going to say in the course of a year, I'm using the trickworm probably at least 80% of the time, maybe 85% of the time. Other applications, I'll be using the Robo worm maybe 10 to 15% of the time. Again, it's usually tough fishing conditions, clear water, colder water, that type of stuff. A lot of times I'll mix them up too. If I'm on a shaky head bite and the fish are real color sensitive, sometimes the Robo worm gives me a few more color options than the trickworm does. But they're both exceptional worms. They both catch a lot of fish. They both catch quality fish and numbers of fish. And you know, obviously out of the two, my favorite is the trickworm. You know, I was using the trickworm for years, even before I was sponsored by Zoom. So it's a bait that, you know, I've got a lot of experience with, and I've got a lot of confidence in it too. So you can't go wrong with either one, guys. You know, either one of these are great worms. They're great summertime worms. They're great worms all year round. You literally catch bass all year long. But one of the things that you'll find out is in the late summer and early fall, which is traditionally the toughest time of the year to catch bass, specifically September. In my opinion, September is probably the toughest month to catch bass out of the entire year. That's when I'll go to these straight tail worms, Robo worm, trickworm, fish them on a light sinker, Texas rig, maybe a light shaky head, get some extra bites when they're in the truck conditions. So anyway, that's today's tip. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you had the chance to subscribe to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back soon. See you.